Hey, precious souls. I am in the studio right now, and I just finished an interview with Heather Regan. And I just wanted to come on here and talk about, gosh, the power of connecting with someone that is so on fire for the work that she does. She's a therapist. Look for that show on the Dr. Karin show. We talked about soul-centered therapy. I met Heather at Gabby Bernstein's training, and she has such a powerful story of going through like body image issues, depression, like basically working for the family business and being so miserable, and then finding this passion. And she left her job. She heard the voice of God talk to her one day and tell her to walk out of her family business, sight unseen. She got in her car, and God said, just drive. And God drove her to a school that offered a master's degree in the education that she wanted to become a therapist. And she trusted God and her guidance enough to leave a life that was actually very profitable, but she was miserable, and her marriage fell apart. But she talked about taking her two young boys, going to an apartment, starting this master's program in counseling, and following the calling that was on her heart and that was coming through her soul, and leaving what seemed to be, it was an illusion, but what seemed to be this perfect life. And we just got off. The show will probably air next Friday, and I just wanted to share. I'm like in spirit right now. I'm so inspired. So I was like, I want to hop on Facebook Live really quickly. I'm about to tape another episode, but I just want to share about what an inspiration Heather is, and follow her. Go. Her website is iamheatherregan.com, and she's on Facebook as well. We were so empowered talking about the gift of authenticity and the gift of sharing with people when things aren't going well. And so this is part of why I wanted to jump on as well. Suicide has come up many times in my interviews with people, and I'm going to get emotional because it's also been around me in the past several years and has really changed my life. I've been through periods of time where I was really close to taking my own life as well, twice. And I just want to encourage you, if you are going through a time that is like so dark. And she talked about a woman that ended up taking her life, that the illusion of anyone looking at her was that her life was perfect because her children were always dressed really well and she presented really well, but she always kept reaching out to her and trying to help. And in the end, the woman took her life, but how profoundly it changed her life. And we talked about how important it is for us to be, it makes me so emotional, to be authentic with each other and to be real with each other. And when you're having like the dark night of the soul, when things aren't going well, reach out and ask for help. It's okay to be imperfect. I mean, we all dress up and look nice. I mean, it's important for me for my show, but sometimes I'm going through a shitstorm. Sometimes life is not okay, and I show up and I'm really flustered and things are bad. But I have learned, and I'm a therapist, to have a team around me. And so I really encourage you, if things are going, if you're in pain right now in your life, if you're confused, if things seem like you can't find a solution, seek out someone to help. I do that work one-on-one over the phone or in person. Heather, many people that I have been interviewing, I'm on Facebook, so I'm getting questions here. I am, some people call me a psychologist. I'm actually a PhD level trained counselor. I'm a therapist. I call myself a life coach because I go way out of the box as well. I do a lot of spirit-based coaching, and which means I follow my intuition as well as my clinical training. And, I recently have had a client attempt suicide, and it's, luckily everything worked out, and she is okay now. But it's, I'm bringing it up because it's really strong, and I feel like if I can just reach one person that is watching right now, if you feel like if you're just at your wit's end, I mean, sitting down and getting still and listening to the voice of God, but also not isolating yourself and reaching out for the help that you need. There's so many helpers out there, and I do believe, and I'm saying a prayer for you right now as you're on, that God will lead you to the person that is meant to help you, that you will feel connected with, that you will feel that can bring the healing into your life. Those of you that are jumping on right now, thanks, Felicia. I just did an interview offline, and I'm actually shaking. I was really inspired by it, by a soul-based therapist named Heather Regan, who you can find online at iamheatherregan.com. And I'm so inspired, but what kept coming up in the interview was how suicide's affected our lives and how prevalent it is and how much there's an illusion oftentimes that we are perfect. And Facebook, sometimes does that. I love Facebook because it helps me stay connected with my friends, but I also believe that we have to be real and authentic sometimes. And sometimes life is really, really hard. And sometimes you feel like there's nobody around to help. And one of the coping mechanisms that does not help is isolation. It does not help you. It's going to make you feel more disconnected from people. One of the main things, I'm reading. Sorry, Felicia's talking about suicide being a crisis among our youth, and so many kids at her daughter's school have taken their life. Yes, I mean it's so powerful. It's a whole nother podcast. I'm actually definitely being called to do a podcast on it, but I just wanted to encourage anyone that's watching, and I just had faith that somebody that was going to be popping on this really quick Facebook Live I'm doing feels like they're the only ones. And I'm just going to tell you right now, you are not the only one. I have been there. When I was young, I used to cut, which means I would take scissors and slice my arms. I had some really tough things that were going on at home, and I took to that behavior again when I was an adult, and I hit the dark night of the soul, and I really wanted to take my life. I've been there. I'm recovered now, and I do not see that as an option for me now, but I know what it feels like, those of you that are at that place, that life is that hard. And I just want to encourage you, and I'm saying that as I'm speaking to you, I'm sending guides and angels out to you if you're in this place, that you be directed and that you be led to that person that is there to help you and that is there to hold your hand, to walk you through, to let you know you're not alone, and that there's so many other options out there that can help you come back to a place of harmony and clarity. And it is never too late to go and just find somebody, and let those that you trust, and you know who you can trust, let them know that you're hurting. Let them know that you need time just for yourself to talk through whatever it is that's going on with you. It is so important not to isolate yourself, not to turn to substances as your best friends to get you through or to take you down a road that feels even, more full of despair. You have so much love around you that comes from God, that comes from your angels, that comes from your guides, that comes from loved ones that have moved on, and you're being supported and cheered for in such a way. And oftentimes when, we get clinically depressed, because I know I've been there. I've taken antidepressive medicine a couple times in my life. I have lost people very, very close to me, and I just want to encourage you. If you are there, you are not alone. And obviously there are 1-800 helplines out there that are very easy to find. If you just ask Siri what the number is, you can find it. But, I am believing right now that those of you that need the help, as the prayer I'm sending out for you, that you will be guided to the people that are going to be helping you, to somebody that is going to hold your hand and walk you through until you see the sunlight again, because there is sunlight again. I am the perfect, when I was contemplating one time, I will tell you back years ago, I was going through a really bad divorce, and people thought I had it all together, and I lived in this pretty house, and I guess I looked pretty, and people, because my ex-husband was a successful athlete and had money, people thought that everything was fine, and it wasn't. I was extremely depressed. I was extremely suicidal, and luckily I found a therapist that helped me through it, but I would hole up in my house, and I would break things, and I would cry, and I would drink, and I was very isolated, and most people around me didn't know, what was going on. But I turned finally, gradually to God, and I one day took a walk. I live by the Chattahoochee River, and I took my dogs for a walk, and I went off the path, and I went way deep in the woods, and I just felt like so alone and so isolated, and so like nobody understood me just because people saw me a certain way. The perception was that I was okay, and I wasn't. I was struggling really badly. And as I was walking, God, sorry, my producer just walked in. As I was walking, God sat me down on a stump out by the Chattahoochee River, and I had my dog with me, Georgia, a golden retriever. And I cried and I cried and I wept, and my tears fell on all the leaves that were at my feet. And it was, probably around November, December. Of course, the holidays can be one of the hardest times. And I didn't feel like there was any way out. And I was really thinking about ending it. And I prayed, and God said to me in my heart, I didn't hear a booming voice, I felt it in my soul. He said, open your eyes and look around. And when I looked around, all I saw was like grayness and trees that didn't have their leaves and leaves that were all over the ground, and everything seemed dead, and that is how I was feeling inside. And God said to me, I'm going to use what feels dead in you now to heal people and to help people. I'm going to transition just like the seasons change, because they will. He reminded me that all that was dead on the earth was going to be used as soil and as as to help the earth to grow. And he showed me an image of all the deadness going back into the earth and to be rejuvenated and to be used as a catalyst for growth, and to be used as what was going to be feeding the trees and the plants and the animals from the soil up. Thanks, Felicia. And I had a moment that changed my life, because when I just could at least see that there was going to be hope in the pain that I was feeling, and I could see, and God reminded me of the seasons, and that seasons change, and that even though things fall off and seem dead and seem like there is not, thank you, Catherine. You just touched me. Thank you, Catherine. I've known a really long time. Thank you. Even though things seemed dead, and it felt dead, and the air felt dead, and it was cold, and it's raining right now, you'll hear the rain. Being reminded that sometimes those things are going to be used. You're not meant to suffer. You're not sent into a place right now you're not being punished, but to look at it and to know that there will be a harvest again one day, and those things that are challenging you and that are hurting you and that might make you feel like you just want to leave everything can be used later for good. And look at me now. I mean, that was 20 whatever years ago. But as soon as I was ready to let it in, it can happen like that. I was led to a therapist then, many therapists actually, probably 4 therapists since then, that at the time, helped me through what I needed them to be the moment. I prayed that God would lead me to the therapist that was right. I started reading spirit-filled books. I started really going back into prayer time. I wasn't perfect. I was still seeking love in all the wrong places sometimes, but my journey brought me to a place of clarity later. And now here I am 25 years later, and I am the happiest I've ever been. And I look back at that woman that I was sitting there feeling so alone, and it happened many times. That was the only time that I thought it was over or that God came to me. But to know that you're surrounded by so much love. And when we all get to the other side and we see the team of angels and guides and loved ones, and just the source of all love, which is God, around us, that's surrounding us in nature and that's surrounding us in the form of our friends, when we get to see and witness the amount of love that is solely focused on us, we're going to be so overwhelmed. And I want you to feel it. This is part of why I'm doing these podcasts and part of why I'm writing, because I found a way to tap into that sacredness inside of me, and to find a way to make it powerful instead of painful, and find a way to transition those things that can be so hurtful in life into pieces that can really bring power. And so now, I'm doing this work. I'm not making a ton of money doing it. I'm hoping that, that there are ways for me to speak in a broader platform. But my point is, I'm in a place and I'm so happy, and that kind of stuff doesn't matter anymore. I know that God is going to provide that, and that the universe is going to provide all that for me. And all I know is that I'm on the right path because I'm happy now, and things are fluid, and you can have that too. When my show with Heather airs, I really want you to watch it. It will change you again if you are in this place. So, and the show I just aired with Kate Ekman is also one that is transforming and is really similar as well. So Jesse had gone to get lunch, and I was between tapings, so I just wanted to pop on and share something that I felt really led to share, because I felt like somebody was going to pop on here that really needed some love, and that needed to know that they're not alone, and to know that there's always hope, and that I am believing with you that that person, that guide, that friend, that counselor, that mentor that is meant to walk into your life right now to help you to the next place will be brought into your life. So just know that that prayer is being sent out for you, and I'm asking my angels right now to send it to those people that specifically need that. And I'm going to keep this post up on my page, because I'm right now in my spirit sending the angels to whoever needs them, and that you will be guided, and that you will trust that the guidance will be there to the place that will bring you back to hope. And just know that you're loved. I love you if I know you or don't know you. I love you for being here. And I just wanted to really speak from my heart, because I felt really led to do so. But I got to go tape my other show now. Thank you for everyone that showed up and share with me. A few of you shared with me how meaningful it was to hear this, and it was meaningful for me as well. I'm still healing too, so I'm in this with you. Anyway, lead with your heart today. Know that you're not alone, and look for the help Look for the guidance. It's actually like the best act of self-love you can do for yourself, because you are eternally loved by a force so much bigger than you, so much bigger than you. All right, I'll check in later. Be well, and know that you're loved. Bye-bye.